I would like to call, what's today? The September 14th, 2023 meeting of the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission to order. Dee, would you call the roll, please?
Marlene Newman. Ernesto Castaneda.
Here.
Daniel Schlegel. Sam DeSaller.
Here.
Matthew Sutton.
Here.
John Saunders. Elizabeth Mitchell.
Here.
Allison Chopra. Bernard Cross.
Here.
Duncan Campbell. Kirsten Hawley. Karen Duffy.
Here.
Chris Sturbaum.
All right, Gloria, would you like to run through the staff approvals?
Yeah, so staff approvals. So this week we don't have minutes. They will be coming shortly for next week. You should be able to see them. Or next meeting, sorry, not next week. Staff approvals, we have two of them. The first one is COA 23-66 for 615 West Kirkwood, wherein the petitioner was requesting new signage to hang from the porch eave. After having consulted with the Greater Prospect Hill Construction Subcommittee, read the Kirkwood Avenue, the plan for West Kirkwood and the Greater Prospect Hill Historic District guidelines, staff found that the proposal complied with both the Kirkwood and Greater Prospect Hill guidelines. And these were two small hanging signs that just gave information on where to park. The second staff approved certificate of appropriateness was a retroactive certificate of appropriateness application, and we will be talking about notice of violations at the end. This was one of those cases, 1320 East 1st Street. The petitioner had installed a privacy fence on the back southwest side of her lot. A complaint was made. After having reviewed the guidelines carefully, staff found that the fence, luckily for the petitioner, had always been in compliance, and they had followed all of the guideline rules without knowing that they needed to apply. And after some conversation, at least, and having made this is a new owner, making them aware that they have to come back to the HPC. They did fill out all of the paperwork, and so this was a staff approval. And that's it for staff approvals.
All right. You want to move on to certificates of appropriateness?
Yes. Okay.
We're good there.
Okay, so we do have Robin Reeves online, the petitioner. And the petitioner is requesting for COA 23-67 at 901 West 4th Street to close one of the two traditional historic front entrances in order to have more space inside of the building. Let me read a little bit more about what the petitioner is actually requesting, the context. So they have two entry doors on the front porch, and they want to close the second door, so that would be the door that is perpendicular to the front street. They want to close it from the inside. The second door defines as one of the leading into the bedroom on the west side of the porch. They would leave the exterior storm door and the upper window on the outside untouched, which would mean that the porch will look basically the same. However, behind the storm door, there would only be a wall which they can paint the same color as the exterior of the house, or even try to illustrate a door. And their father is an artist, so with that context, staff recommends denial of COA 23-67. However, staff recommends that the owner close the wall behind the door from the interior such that in the future it can be restored back to a functioning door. However, staff is also open to a more nuanced discussion. So basically, this type of review is usually a staff review in Greater Prospect Hill. However, due to the nuance of the situation, where there is a lot of historical precedent all over the world and in the United States and within our community of certain principal fenestrations being changed in a careful way. However, staff is also concerned that this is a very, very special typology that is found in parts of the United States, and it's not something that can be found everywhere, and we don't want to lose them or pretend like something is there that is not. So basically, staff is opening it up to the Historic Preservation Commission for their interpretation. We actually have Richard Lewis from the community who just came into the Zoom call. So we have the owner, we have a community member in Zoom.
Gotcha. Would the petitioner like to add anything to Gloria's presentation?
Since you can hear me, I don't have anything to add. That's basically a good description.
Thank you. And do we have comments from the neighborhood, or do we you want to talk to
Do a mute.
Mr. Lewis?
Hi, good afternoon. Hope you all are doing well. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah. Are you speaking personally or as a representative of the neighborhood?
Well, at the moment, I'm speaking in ignorance because I joined late and I don't know which project we're on. Are we on 615 West Kirkwood Avenue?
Nope, 901 West 4th.
Okay, 901 West 4th. I think I'm speaking personally at this point because I did not submit comments in time for Gloria, and I apologize for that. This is the door kind of replacement with the siding.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Okay. I will admit, and again, this is a personal observation, I am a little confused by the proposed solution to put siding behind, visible siding in a door frame. Personally, I don't feel that's necessarily the best solution. I would encourage retaining the original door, which I think in the photos appears to be the original wooden door with a half light, as well as a storm door in front of it, and if possible, and I'm not trying to tell the homeowner what to do, but to drywall from the inside so that the outside view is unchanged. It appears that it's a door, it's just not functional from the inside, you know, if the doorknob needs to be removed or something. But that way it's an interior renovation that doesn't affect the exterior facade or materials at all. I am not a contractor, I am not a builder, so I admit that may not be the most practical solution, but I'm not sure that removing an historic door and putting siding in its place is gonna help achieve the result that the homeowner would like, and it doesn't help the streetscape view from my opinion, and that, you know, per our design guidelines. Thanks.
Thank you. Questions? Questions are first, right? It's been a minute
Yes,
since
questions for.
Ernesto, you have questions?
I have a question for the petitioner. Is it true that is it siding that you would see from the exterior?
Give me 1 second, the petitioner, I need to allow her to participate.
Okay. I didn't really want to put exterior siding underneath the door, the storm door, but rather some kind of weather solid kind of exterior surface, like a plywood surface that could be painted the same color as the siding. Yeah, that was the plan. It wasn't ever to be siding underneath the storm door.
I think part of the issue here, I mean, this is very unusual, not your case, but I think part of what it would be very helpful to make your case is to show as much information as you can, and that information needs to be as clear as you can, so there is no question what you're trying to do. That way we can see what you're trying to do with clarity. So that will help your case. You know, these two doors condition, you see this in the old neighborhoods in the west side of town, they had a purpose. I'm going to, yes, thank you, Sam. I'm trying to make my case. Can you tell us what's the reason behind closing off this door?
Well, nobody uses the door, and I know it probably did have a purpose, but it no longer serves a purpose to have an exit from the main bedroom, which is what that room is just by a default. And I know I actually own two houses that have two doors on the porch. So I know that it's a historic sort of artifact, and but on the interior, it just takes up a wall space and is a source of cool air coming in, and it affects the heating of the house. It's kind of needless, with the exception of the fact that it's a historic feature. And so my thought was to just wall it up from the inside so that it no longer allows air to pass through, so that it no longer takes up a rectangle of space on the wall, and that I can use that wall to put furniture against or something like that. Because right now it just has a curtain over it on the inside.
Sure, just like any other window.
Sorry?
Sure, just like any other window, right?
Yeah, like a window, but which it's not, and it also feels a little bit less secure, to have a door directly into the bedroom, because, I don't know, it's just another point of entry. I already have two windows in the bedroom, so it just adds another, sort of point of egress, which I don't need, and a point of entry if somebody were to try to come into the house
I have no further
that way,
questions.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Renard, you have questions?
Yes, I heard, is it Richard Lewis? Make a recommendation about just, walling off the inside, like putting up, I don't know, reframing it and just putting maybe drywall along that space where the door is, and from the inside it would look like any other wall in the house, but it would remain the same on the outside. It would look the same, and essentially, I mean, you'd see a door, but it would be non-functional. Have you given any consideration to this option?
I actually think it's a great idea. I had not thought of it prior to, was it Richard who said that? So I can see how that could be feasible. And so then the door would stay the same. We would have to build like a little bit inside of, lose a little bit of space in the interior, but it wouldn't have to be too much. So I think it could be doable that way.
Robin, on that note, if you would like to come to City Hall, I can show you my office. My desk is literally adjoining a door. It's exactly your situation, a door. My windows are actually the door windows. And it's been plastered inside. It's been drywalled inside, so I do not feel like I have a wall. I do not have that perception of openness and insecurity. But if I walk outside in City Hall, you see the door there, but the door is not functional. So people can pull at it, but it's not going to go anywhere.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I do like the idea of being able to see kind of an example of that. So, and might be emailing you about that.
Sounds good.
Elizabeth, you have questions? Are you done, Renard?
Yes.
Okay, if you have any questions, Elizabeth?
He said everything I wanted to say is just drywall on the inside.
Carson, you have questions?
No questions.
Mr.
Questions have been asked and answered, thanks.
Covered.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions. Is this room going to be still used as a bedroom?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and are the windows, the existing windows, legally sized to allow for fire egress?
Yes, they are. The home has had a hand permit for rental in the past, so I'm assuming they wouldn't give the permit if that were not the case.
Well, you've got an exterior exit already, so that covers your fire egress. But if you block that off, if your windows aren't at least, you have a clear opening of at least 24 inches with a width the height 24 inches and the width 20 inches clear. If those existing windows don't meet that, you're gonna be in violation of the fire code if you try to do that. So, I would not recommend you, close this up at all if your windows don't meet those requirements.
Okay, I really appreciate that. I do think they are big enough because they're really large windows,
Good.
like from ceiling to floor. Yeah, so I think we're covered, but, yeah, I'll definitely look at that
Yeah.
and make sure.
Check with the building department.
Is it just the size, or would it also be the type of window?
Type doesn't matter as
Type.
long as the clear opening makes it, the operation does not matter. Ernesto, you have comments?
Yes, I think these houses are beautiful as they are for a reason. The houses were designed to have 2 doors for a reason. I would object to have this type of job remodel to an existing house like this. That's all.
Bernard, comments?
No.
Elizabeth, comments? Kirsten?
Yeah, my only comment would be, I definitely like the idea of keeping the original door, maybe even doing some better storm sealing, and then just covering it up on the inside. Then that would meet the criteria. Its appearance from the street and from outside would be identical.
Yep. Duffy?
Yeah, just to be clear, I think we are talking about the kind of solution that Gloria's described for her office, where the glass part would still be clear glass, right? Just to be clear on that, Robin. That's what we're kind of looking for.
Yeah.
I know in my neighborhood, we have a lot of second doors that have been closed off, and they just look like a scar because it breaks the rhythm of the street view.
Exactly.
You look up and down the street and there's 2 doors, oh, one that's hurt. You know, that's the way it looks visually, and you don't want to do that. So this would be a great solution for you.
If I can say, can I?
Go right ahead.
I heard the comment about the storm ceiling, and, I'm not a builder. I'm wondering how to accomplish that if I'm allowed to replace. The storm door is ancient, so am I able to replace the exterior storm door, or are there other suggestions for the storm ceiling, before doing the drywall on the inside?
What are you talking about, storm ceiling? Would you clarify that?
I think she's referring to my comment where I was just like, and a better word would be weather sealing, like caulk and the goop that you can squeeze in on the cracks and
Gotcha.
things like that, or little
Weatherizing?
weatherizing, things you can seal along the bottom so it won't leak so much badly, and then, so is that that's what I was talking about. Does that make more sense?
That is what I was talking about as well.
Yeah,
And yes, but is it potentially possible to get a new storm door, or does the door need to, because there's 2 doors, there's an entry door and then a storm door.
Right.
it says here, as long as it's, should duplicate the original in size and scale in ways that don't visually impact the public way facade of the house, you probably could, and I don't know enough about storm doors on the market, but this doesn't seem all that unusual.
No, I mean, you could swap it out, but given that you're gonna leave it in place and probably weatherize it as much as possible, I don't know how much more a new storm door is gonna get you. If you're basically sealing it up and weather stripping the mess out of it. So, if you wanna save a little bit, you can still use the existing storm door, caulk it up, sort of keep what's there. Ernesto, you have a comment?
Yes, if the commission were to allow her to do this option, can the commission recommend for her to come back with a clear solution of what this could be?
What the storm door she's.
Yeah, what this-
We would wanna see what storm door you're proposing to replace it with. But, we're not opposed to replacing it.
But- But more than that, if, Robin, if you do want to replace the storm door and that's going to be the only visible change to the exterior, remember, You do not need to come to the HPC for changes inside the house at all. But if you are going to change the storm door, that is actually staff review. So
It'll be faster.
it's much faster, and we can turn that around even tomorrow.
Mhm. The only other thing,
Once
Okay.
she knows, once we know what the storm door is, and it's a storm door that I can approve.
so the only other thing that I would say is, like, I like this option less, but we have seen other petitioners come forward and replace the glass in the door with a mirror, so you can just block the whole thing off. I don't think the light would be nearly as good in that room. So I would not necessarily recommend that, but I think that's another path that other people have taken.
Okay, does the mirror option also need to be approved by the committee, or is it a staff approval, or is it not an approval process?
Well, I think what we're gonna do, right after we finish talking here, I'm gonna see if the public has any more commentary. And then I'm gonna ask for a motion, and they're gonna make a suggestion about what you could do. So I think I'll ask if the public has any more comments.
If you have any comments and are online, please use the raise hand function in Zoom.
All right, seeing no comments, I'm gonna ask for a motion.
I move that we not approve COA 23-67.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, Dee?
Ernesto Castaneda,
For clarity, I'm sorry, for clarity, a yes vote is a vote to deny.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not to be confused.
Yes.
Sam DeSaller,
No,
Matthew Seddon,
there's a reason.
Yes. I'm confused myself.
I know.
Elizabeth Mitchell,
Well, we're voting to
Deny.
To
deny
deny.
that door change.
Yeah,
Okay, yes.
Bernard Cross.
Yes.
Motion carries.
all right, so I think what has happened is, they don't want you to close the whole thing up, but if you come back and, what I was actually hoping for was a motion to, do it, closing it up from the inside and leaving the door, but that did not happen.
But if she doesn't need a COA for
Yes,
that.
She doesn't need a COA for that, so
No.
she can come back and just get staff approval, so that's what I would
Yeah,
suggest.
so,
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Robin, you do not need a COA to cover up the interior. In fact, email me or call me tomorrow, and I can do if you do a visit here in City Hall, so that you can see how we do it here in City Hall, where it would achieve the exact same effect that you're looking for, except that in your house it would be a much thinner wall than the one we have here, because this is like an 18-inch brick wall, and your house is not an 18-inch brick wall. So just keep in contact with me. I think you could still, we're not here to discourage you from feeling privacy in the room, but rather to figure out a way to get the privacy in the room, and the light coming in the room, but also keeping the two doors.
Does that make sense?
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, that does.
All right, so, moving on, what do we got next?
Thank you so much for your time, Robin. So next we have demolition delay 23-10. Let me go down, sorry. Today is not the, today I'm a bit on the struggle bus. So thank you for your patience.
Oh, and we lost the canopy, right?
Yeah, well, we'll get it
We'll get it
eventually.
eventually.
I'm having a technical difficulty here right now with the packet. Okay, so I'm just
I'm
gonna,
on page 46.
let me see if I can find it here. Okay. Does this not have page? Go to, here we go. 46. Okay, thank you so much, Chair.
Sorry.
So, the petitioner is also here. Kaylin Evans is asking for requesting the demolition of 313 West 17th Street. So from the Shard records, this is a 1930 bungalow. And the Shard records indicate that there were 4/1 double hung, or there are double hung windows with metal storms. And then there's also triple, double, and single double hung windows. The front porch, at the front door with gable front pedimented roof, wood frieze, wood column, wood floor, concrete steps. This is a charming little house on 17th Street that has been used for commercial purposes. It was actually really hard for me as staff to find information about this building. Like, just to substantiate at the History Center, information about like long-term past historical use, other than the fact that this was a house. Staff does recommend release mainly because we don't have a move option. I'm not gonna lie, as staff, I'm not happy about the situation. The building form I find is very unique. I don't know if an argument could be made for its typology or its form. I don't know if there's additional information on its history. But this is kind of where we're at. The owner is online and they can comment a bit more on as well. Let me just make them a co-host for now. And that's kind of where we're at.
All right, does the petitioner have anything to add?
Hi there, this is Kaylin Evans, the petitioner, the owner of the property. Not much to add. I do know from my records, just from the prior owner, this home was owned by basically a single family, the Black family back, I believe, nearly till the time it was built. They were in the wig business, and then their daughter took that business over several years ago, continued to operate the wigwam out of that location until last fall, which is when I purchased the property from them. They expanded their store. They moved to a rented location on the west side of Bloomington. So their business is still going strong. But they had really nothing else to note about the history of the home. Did not have any objection to my demolition of the property. They knew that was coming at the time I purchased it from them. Other than that, I've had a little bit of feedback from somewhat adjacent property owners, the owners of the dry cleaners at the corner of 17th in North Madison. We're not opposed in any way. We've been this particular area. I've got a couple other lots in this area that the homelessness and camping and vandalism of property has been a bit of an issue. We've had some police calls to this location for, unfortunately, some homeless camping in the back, and some theft in some of the neighbors' properties. So I know that's, at least in my kind of reaching out to a few of the nearby neighbors, they're in support of the demolition and in support of redevelopment, with this kind of being a major commercial corridor that's got, new streetscape going in, new curb, new bike path, that kind of thing. That this is the comprehensive plan. At least this is kind of a major urban corridor that's in the process of being redeveloped, and that's kind of the way we're looking at it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Questions? Commissioner Duffy?
No, I don't have any questions.
No, no questions.
Yeah, questions? Questions?
Yes, have you considered, having the house moved somewhere?
We have not given any consideration to moving it. I don't have anywhere to move it. If someone were willing to move it for me, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. But it's more of just the logistics and the cost of a move and back to the age and condition of the home. While the exterior may still have some of the original form of the home there, the interior has been chopped up significantly. I mean, this has been used as a beauty salon and a wig shop for 20, 30 years now. So there are no bedrooms. There really aren't any living spaces. There's a kind of cut up retail spaces in the front. The front porch you see there has been closed in with storefront glass. There's a storefront glass on that west side there that you kind of see the awning over the top of the shrubs, and a commercial door in there. So the interiors, like I said, it's been highly modified for commercial use, not residential use.
Oh,
Any
so
other
it's
questions?
really not in a historic district, this is not a historic home?
It's not in a district.
Okay.
It is historic in
It
the
is.
sense of it has the age but it is a contributing
It's-
structure. It's not notable or outstanding.
It's contributing not in a district. So we either have the choice to release it or landmark it. Ernesto, any questions?
Yes, have you heard about Bloomington Restorations?
I have heard of them. I've just in being a part of some other hearings in the past and kind of watching some of the prior HPC meetings, so I'm somewhat familiar with the kind of work that they do. But that's it. I've never had any contact or any dealing with them.
So you are aware that they move houses and they restore houses, correct?
I'm just not aware that they do moving, no.
They do. And they restore houses in conditions this house is actually in good shape, considering. So I would encourage you to reach out to them because they might be interested in this house to be moved and be saved. Thank you.
You have additional comments, Ernesto? I'll just go
No.
back the other way.
No, thank you.
Right. Bernard, comments?
I was just looking at the history of the business and the building, and I just noticed it was founded by the Black family, but it was founded by Clara Lee Showers Black, and I know Showers is also a big Bloomington family. So I just wanted to kind of point out that this is also probably has a history of Black-owned businesses in Bloomington and everything. So that's all.
Mr. Sutton?
Yeah, that's what's been rattling in the back of my mind, like, just because of the paucity of the history that we have on that we do now have, at least through the owner, kind of a name now. A quick Google search got us another name. I wonder if we've got time to, delay it and take another look at, the history of this particular business and the details of who owned it and that sort of thing. Normally I'd be like, yes, it's very cute. Definitely great shape. I like the clip gables on either side. That's kind of unusual. But if there's some actual connection to something historically significant person, particularly since we're missing a lot of that history, in this case, I'd be willing, if we've got another meeting's worth to do a little more digging now that you've got a name.
You look at
Any other comments, Matt?
That's
So
it, that's
the-
it. If we've got time, I would recommend pushing it to the next meeting, and using whatever we can from these names to find out, if we can find out anything. Because I don't think it's significant in terms of its appearance, other than it's kind of cute with the clipped gables, but I wouldn't nominate it to the Register of Historic Places or want to make an argument in front of City Council. But on the basis of who occupied it and maybe what type of business it was and how that fits into Black history in Bloomington, that I would see as a significant argument. So I would say I would argue it would be worth waiting 2 weeks to try to find that out.
And if he could have a check with Restore, like you said, if they move houses,
Yeah.
that'd give him time to check that out.
Okay, so the demolition delay counter started on August 29, 2023. So that's
We've got
been
easily
15 days, 16 days.
30.
And we have 90, don't we?
Yeah,
We'd
we
be
have
within
90.
the 90.
Yes.
But the next meeting we'd have to make a decision, but yeah, that's what I would recommend in this case.
What you got?
That's what I got.
All right.
That's all I got.
You got anything?
I was just gonna build on Ernesto and Matt and Liz's comments too, that the extra 2 weeks would help give you time to talk to Bloomington Restorations and see if there's a possibility, because they would have to locate a lot.
Right.
And it takes time to make arrangements to move a house, and this and that, but at least you can explore that as a possibility. And it could be a nice little affordable home for someone.
Yeah, we're just trying, if I may, we're just trying to exhaust any possibilities. We're talking about affordability here. So
That's
this
true.
could, right, I mean,
And it might also save some money.
exactly,
Might
right.
be cheaper to move it
Yeah,
than to tear it down.
exactly, yeah.
I don't have any further comments. Does anyone have, in the public, have anything they'd like to say? Raise your hand if you're on Zoom. All right, failing that, I'll open it up for a motion.
I move that we table DD 23-10 to the next meeting and ask if staff is able to use some of the names that we have obtained and see if we can get anything more out of that.
I second.
Dee?
Ernesto Castaneda,
Yes.
Sam DeSaller,
Yes.
Matthew Seddon,
Yes.
Elizabeth Mitchell,
Yes.
Bernard Cross.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you for coming in. This doesn't mean we're not gonna deny you, we just wanna sort of do a little more digging, but thanks for coming in.
Certainly, we'll see you here in a few weeks.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So we've got 2 archaeologists here. Dun dun dun. Let me see. So the next is part of our functions as a certified local government is also to participate when possible in commenting on Section 106 HUD. In this case, HUD-funded cases. In this case, I'm the one. Sometimes I receive letters to, like, invitations to consult. In this case, I'm the one who's sending a letter to consult. So these letters have gone off to different organizations around town, and the commission, being you are some of the primary stakeholders here in Bloomington, get a say as well. And this is just an invitation. It's like, are we interested in participating and consulting going forward with these 3 cases? I have a few more that are coming out, so don't worry, there's even more of these. These are cases where there is groundbreaking, so I'm going to go a bit over each of them and kind of open it up to all of you. So the first one is an invitation to consult regarding the installation of a new sidewalk and accessibility ramp at 410 West Kirkwood Avenue using Community Development Block block grant funds for physical improvements. The project is located at 400 West Kirkwood Avenue. The site has a non-contributing structure, and the scope of work consists of breaking ground and completing site work and excavation. There is utility connections and utility permit, building a new ADA accessible sidewalk on the west and south of the building, including a ramp and a staircase, and installing walkway pavers. The subrecipients, they not only began working on the site, I actually confirmed with the architect that they have completed work on the site. So there we have that. I was asked to continue doing this. And if any of you have any comments, I'm so sorry. I apologize. These are the cards I was given. So
Well, no, if I want to be a consulting party, that's something's already built.
and that is a comment sometimes saying we can't say anything is a powerful statement in and of itself. So here's a bit more context for the site. So the site is located on the west side. So here we have to switch a bit from the local historic districts to the national historic districts. It is located on the west side historic district. It is non-contributing. It is located near the Batman building. Batman. This is
Actually, they were the original owners. Batman. Awesome.
And it was a funeral home too. Because that's not,
The
it's
Batman
not
building?
creepy enough,
The
so.
Batman building was a funeral home?
I found a creepy ad. I can show you later. And here are photos of the site. This is,
There's a chat that's showing up at the bottom there. There's a,
So they've already done,
that's
they've
the-
already done the groundbreaking and the installation.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Then I think we send a letter that says there's no way we could comment on this because you've already screwed everything up. Or just, we were unable to comment because it's done.
and that is a comment, and I can put that down. That's actually going to go in the record for, if the HPC does decide you vote that this is like the comment or resolution or whatever way you find more formal to respond, then that is a comment that I will include in the packet.
I might go around and get commissioner questions or comments, and I think we can lump them all together. Ernesto, questions, comments?
It's hard to comment and question, it's already done, I don't know.
Pretty
I
much.
think
Bernard?
it's-
Yeah.
What he
What he
said.
said.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, I, in addition to what Commissioner Sutton said, I would add that we are frustrated and disappointed and would like to be consulted in a timely fashion if they actually want our input. So
That
rather,
sounds good.
yes, rather than
I don't
asking
think it's fair.
retroactively for our input on something that we can have input in, I don't see, I find that kind of invitation rather, what's the word?
Insulting.
Well, there's that.
Disingenuous.
Disingenuous, that's the word I'm looking for. So,
Classic grammar school.
there you go. If they want our input, ask us when we have an opportunity to make
Okay.
a valid contribution.
Do you,
Do we need to make a motion about that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, like,
You-
Mike is
you got
just
the gist.
shaking his
All
head.
right, there we go.
Okay,
What's next on our punch list here?
so, thank you for your patience while I scroll and
No.
things load.
I'm on 86 now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much for here we go. So, the next application is for the construction of affordable single-family homes in a multifamily development at Arlington Heights, Bloomington, Monroe County, using home funds through the Housing and Urban Development Department. So, this project is a large-scale development that's going to have sort of it's going to be family, a different pay. How do you call it when they're
Like a planned unit development kind of thing, or?
Yes, some of them, so they're single-family houses, and some are gonna be most of them are gonna be affordable,
Mhm.
and it's through a trust.
Mhm.
I think, if John Zodi's around, he might be able, I don't think he is, but he would be able to, talk a bit more about it. The project consists of the construction of around 40 single-family homes on undeveloped land, and it's been slightly developed because that's how it was given to the city. At least the roads were put into place before the land was conceded to the city as part of an exchange. Or this, is it conceded to the city? Anyways, there's a trust. It's complex. It's gonna be developed by multiple organizations. But so 2 streets have already been built for this development, Denver Road and North Breckenridge Road. These roads connect to North Telluride Street. The project will take place over the next few years with Habitat for Humanity and the Bloomington Housing Authority using a combination of public and private fundings to build one house at a time, with each design to be chosen from a catalog, and the catalog has been attached. The houses are going to be built slab on grade. Site plans, maps, and photos have been attached. So this is the site. It is very near the highway. So this is part of a overarching, much larger environmental review that is taking place. This is the start of the process.
So those ground disturbances, that happened that's already happened, but
Yes.
not as part of this project?
Yes, so that had happened as part of the previous owners preparing the land they were supposed to develop it as affordable housing as part of a concession for what they wanted to do. However, instead of developing it, and Mike, feel free to interject if I'm
Sorry.
inventing stuff, because I hope I'm not. I'm paraphrasing, but again, there was a lot of complex paperwork a long time before we even started working here. But yeah, so the roads were prepared, or the streets were prepared for a private development that did not happen. Instead, this was seeded to be part of this affordable housing grant, project.
So they're asking us if we want to sort of ride shotgun on the design process because.
The issue's not with the design process. This is much more on the archaeologist side of stuff.
Okay.
Just to make sure, hey, do we want to have a say in the future as more information is brought in, or do we have any concerns that we want to if any of us know, some people might know, hey, this, for example, if one of us knew that there used to be a very, very special sacred place in this area, or we knew that this was there used to be a cultural center for someone here, anything that we might know that it just looks like a flat piece of grass right now, but there's other information. This has also been sent to the Peoria people and to the Miami people for their input. This has also been sent to the State Historic Preservation Office, who has access to archaeology maps. But if the BHPC feels like you don't have to participate in it if you don't want to, but this is just an invitation in case you feel like, there might be a little flag or something.
My sense, looking at it, if this is slab on grade, which you guys can explain to me, but probably means they might do a little bit more leveling than they just throw a concrete slab on it. It looks like some leveling and stuff has already been done. So the archaeologist in me says what's been disturbed is, if there was anything there, it's already been a little bit disturbed, and then slapping a slab on grade house on it probably isn't that big of a deal. So this is one that I'd be sort of inclined to say, nah, not interested in being a consulting party. If it were anything else, if they were digging foundations or basements, then I might say, yeah, we'd like to be a consulting party, and our primary recommendation is that you undertake CFR 800.2 AB or whatever it is that says reasonable and good faith efforts. But That's my sense. You're an archaeologist?
Yeah.
Ah, what's your sense?
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I guess, especially if they're not putting in basements, I imagine anything that they would be disturbing with the slab, they would have already found with the roads if there was something big and significant there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there were, you know, I don't know anything about that particular area of town that would raise any red flags for me.
The only other thing they might be doing is water and sewer lines, but those are gonna be narrow trenches, so that,
That's a good point.
I mean, but also the state's in on this one.
This is true, yeah, if the state's, you know, the SHPO ought to get upset if they're gonna be upset about it.
Yeah, I don't know how much, I mean, I can't add anything to this
Yeah,
equation except more problems for them.
Yeah, yeah, to me, I see this different from, what is it, Second South that we asked to go ahead and be consulting parties on, cause I did feel like I happen to actually know a few things about that area, but, yeah, there's always a I mean, anywhere you stick a shovel around there, you might find something. It doesn't feel like a high probability spot. It looks like a terrace sitting up above a drainage, but,
Yeah. Let me show you some more images.
but yeah, I would say,
With me tonight.
Okay.
I mean,
It
if
looks
this were,
like-
if I were the SHPO, this is one that would just make me wanna pull my hair out. You know?
Farmlands for a black.
And,
But cause it's a kind of a done deal.
yeah, I would probably, if I were the SHPO, I would probably say, yeah, you need to hire a consultant to go out there and do a little bit of background work, and maybe around here you have to do shovel probes, which are miserable, and I don't wanna do them myself, but you could pay somebody else to do them. And so, yeah.
You have some strong feelings there.
The strongest feeling is, I don't wanna do shovel probes.
I don't know why I'm getting that vibe.
They're boring, they're hard work, but,
All this site development has been done already, so if.
yeah, they
if
may have already thrown in
Yeah,
all
the
the
streets are there,
utilities
probably
and-
all the infrastructure
Again,
has
it
been done.
it
Well, I mean,
seems a
the
little
storm
bit.
drains and all that,
looks
the only
already
thing that's
graded.
additional to what's happening, that already happened, is like the individual sewer lines to the houses.
Right, tap into the.
Yeah,
buildings
but
and
that's
all that.
it.
Yeah.
And
It's-
so like 90% of
if
what I
they
would
ever
worry, yeah.
disturb something, it has been done already.
Yeah.
That's my overall sense is that,
My concern is that people have long forgotten this, that part of that area was a black community. There were 4 black communities in Monroe County. That was called Chandlerville. That was just one of the 4. So,
oh, well, in that case, then we should say,
well, it probably wouldn't hurt to find out exactly where along the Arlington Road the community was.
yeah.
Because
I
there were
think-
3 kind of west, one definitely out Arlington Road, and the other one was downtown Bloomington.
Then I would say, that's great information, and would say, we would love to be a consulting party. We have concerns about the historic
absolutely
location of
do.
this. And we would recommend that as part of your reasonable and good faith efforts to identify historic remains that you document to the degree possible, the location of this community,
let's find out
and
exactly.
overlay it on the
Relative
map.
to the
And then
Chandlerville
we get something out of it.
settlement.
That's good, Elizabeth, yeah. Then I would say that, yes.
You got all that?
But you know, there's no like precise, we know exactly where that community was.
We have a general idea. I don't have it with me. I give tours about black history in Bloomington, and that's one of the sites. But I know it was in that area. The family, part of them are still here. Mr. Chandler, who moved here, when Bloomington was developed, he's still alive, barely. But that was about 300 residents in Chandlerville
Okay,
in its heyday.
so even if that Chandlerville, like surface remains aren't super visible, there would be tons of artifacts,
There were
things like that that would tell you a lot about living in that community at that time. So I think I withdraw my previous and ignorant comment and say, yes, I think we want to be consulting parties on this one.
Sounds good, yeah.
That work for all concerned.
Because the
Excellent.
SHPO may not know that. Well, the odds are
Well-
pretty good the SHPO doesn't know that.
Black history is just,
Right.
nobody's paying attention, but I am.
Yeah, That's why we're here, that's excellent.
And that's why we're all here, and that's also why there's multiple consulting parties that are asked to participate.
How it's supposed to work.
Okay, so we have, why did I put the calendar for all of them?
So are the things afterwards just the housing types that they're planning to like plop down there? There's
Yes.
the Spring Point stuff, and then there's that, wait, go back to that thing. It's a container. What is that? It's like a shipping container.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell me about that. That just showed up in the packet and I don't understand the
yes,
relevance.
so that's one of the, these are some of the designs.
Oh, so there are house choice options for people?
Yes,
Ah, okay.
so
They're building shipping container houses?
Mhm.
Habitat for Humanity has, and this is from Osage Place. Now I'm wondering if this was the right plan for the right place, or if I flipped them. I may have flipped them.
There's Osage Place, there's the shipping container, and then there's these townhouse things that were plopped down in Denver. The pocket house things.
Yeah, so people will get to like choose the type of
Okay. Oh, and then there's all that other stuff from the
house, yeah.
Ritz Craft people.
The type of buildings they get to choose, yeah, the calabash, so these are, yeah, these are the model plans. So these were sent for Arlington, like some of the types of
Okay.
house options that people can choose to purchase when they're planning.
Okay.
From Malvern Ranch. Okay.
So now we're to,
So we have the one last one, and this is for 1020 North Monroe Street, Bloomington, Monroe County, CDBG Physical Improvement Grant. So the subrecipient is applying for CDBG funds to assist in the construction of its early learning center. The two-story building will be built on the northeast corner of 14th Street and Monroe Street. Actually, it's it's the southeast corner of those streets.
yep, southeast.
The first floor will consist of 3 early child care classrooms and a walled playground to the east. The second floor consists of 3 bedroom affordable apartments accessed by an exterior staircase from the parking lot to the south of the building. The CDC is applying for CDBG funds to purchase and install the playground wall and fencing. The entire site is proposed for ground disturbance at different levels. A new 2-story building is proposed for the site along with a playground, parking, landscaping, and fencing. The site used to have a large water container, which has since been removed.
Oh, that's that big circular thing.
Yes,
So that was an above ground container?
yes.
Although
Let me see if I
there's
can,
probably some below ground disturbance to put it on there.
Yeah.
yeah, usually things like that, let me see, 10, 20.
It's not like a cistern system?
Yeah, this is Monroe Street.
'Cause yeah, at on the air photo, you can see this big circular blob.
So, I like using this time machine thing.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
This is like starting to become a historical record for us.
That's big.
So that used to be on that site, and it is not there anymore. Oh, the most recent Google images are from August 2023, so they're pretty useful because they're so recent as well. So yeah, that's how the site is looking like right now, but it did have a very large structure that has since been removed.
Looking at those pictures, that feels to me even like the lot was sort of built up a little bit. There's like a little hill
Yes.
that fits that circular structure so perfectly that it feels, and then look at the some kind of tank or some output thing in front of it. So my guess is that this is a pretty disturbed area, and I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, there's a
The
lot.
odds that there would be any significant remains left, you could do with anything with it, real low, so.
There's probably a lot of subsurface infrastructure that they had to
I'm pretty sure
make
about
happen
that,
to.
yeah. So I wouldn't worry about this one, say we're not interested in
Okay.
the consulting
Alright.
part, unless somebody has some,
Yeah, let's go around.
yeah,
Anybody have any further thoughts on this one?
Carson, did you dig anything up?
I don't think so.
All right, sounds like we're giving that
Do
one
you
a
have
miss.
access to the archaeological database?
No.
Okay,
Okay.
my wife does, I should get a login,
Yeah,
Well, I'm
this is
gonna-
just drawings of the center.
yeah.
Stop
Okay, now for the
sharing.
fun part.
Yeah, so now for the part everybody's been waiting for, especially the person who's sitting right by me. So I did want to provide a
Violation updates.
violation updates, and Mike, you and I are gonna have to tag team on this one a little bit.
Go for it.
I'm just gonna punt them to you, I'm sorry.
No,
Um,
no, 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 no.
So I did go ahead and prepare a notice of violation. Additional, so for some context, we have two cases that have been in some sort of a process negotiation and or have fallen through in the since around 2020. Both of these started before I arrived. 620 South Ballantyne Road and 605 South Fest Street. Let me just start with 620 South Ballantyne Road for a little bit of context. This is an outstanding building that had a pebble dash texture on 6 columns, 3 of them on the front porch, 3 of them on the back porch. It's a very unique looking building. The previous owner removed the pebble dash as part of some changes he was doing to the building before selling it. He applied for a certificate of appropriateness, and in the process, with the documentation photos, the historic preservation realized that the pebble dash stucco had been removed and gave him a certificate of appropriateness for the other changes to the property, but the certificate of appropriateness specifies that he has to, within those 2 years, restore the pebble dash. The time came and went, the building was sold, they did not restore the pebble dash, those 2 years expired early in 2023. The owners are now trying to sell the building again. So I sent them a new notice of violation saying, like, giving the same timeline that I just mentioned, and the owner got into contact with me, so I sent it last week. He got letters here, local letters usually arrive in 1 or 2 days. He contacted me as soon as he got the letter, and ever since, either he or his realtor have been calling me asking whether their contractor has contacted me with samples. So one of the requirements, because this is a very specific type of pebble dash stucco with a texture and a coloring that was very, very particular to it, we wanted some samples so that specifically so that Sam and Ernesto, some of the architects, could look at it and sort of gauge its historic appropriateness. They haven't contacted us yet. They are kind of on a ticker now where time delayed is expense accrual for them. But that is something that we would have to figure out in-house. We'll keep you posted on how that goes. I don't want to comment much more because it's starting to get into the legal part of things, but they have been given notice, and they have given us receipts that, they received the message. They are in contact with us. They know, they are aware and are actively trying to remediate the situation, but now it's a matter of time of what policy procedure the city's gonna carry out going forward. We'll probably meet very soon.
I'd like to make a couple of slight corrections.
Yeah.
Because I was the one who this was originally brought to the attention of. That he did not apply for the original owner who removed the original material, didn't apply for COA until it was reported that he had removed the stucco.
Okay.
So there was a complaint, we acted on the complaint, they said, then nothing, he got the COA. Then the house was put up for sale without notifying the HPC, without disclosing anything to the HPC. We contacted him about that. He disclosed that they were working with the HPC to fix the problem. they reached out to us once, we said we want samples, we never heard from them again.
Yeah.
They sold the house, the owners, to the current owners, who are aware of the problem and have been aware of it since before they bought the house. So
Yep.
I'm just like, I would like to see this fixed. This is, yes, this has been going on since November of 2020.
Yeah, I mean, just so we're all clear, next steps, if we really can't get any action based on the NOV, is file a complaint. So, typically be what we would do, right, Gloria?
Hmm?
Next steps, we don't have to get into that.
No,
We'll
yeah,
work
we
on it.
know, you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
but the ball is rolling.
And then the next case, 605 South Fest Street, and this was my bad. I sent out some additional NOVs I'll get into, but I sent it to the wrong address. The letter was returned, so I sent it to the right address.
You all know what building we're talking about? This is the Spanish Revival apartment building right across
Yes.
from the Elm Restaurant on
Oh,
Second.
Yeah.
So for some context, this building,
Yeah, we landmarked this building to prevent the owner from putting a ridiculous roof on it. They sold it. The next owner, without consulting anybody, ripped off the original tile roof and put a actually fairly well done standing ribbed roof, which does not match the architecture.
so they had been in contact with us and had placed an order for Spanish barrel style tiles in early 2022, but there was a delay, and it said that the shipping would arrive at around October 2022. It either never did or something happened, but I got into contact with just yesterday or the day before. It's recorded, documented, that I was able to contact their representative through both the mail and via email as well, and then phone call. And again, this is one where it's now we're internal legal process is kind of going to take over in one way or another, and we'll keep you posted on how that goes. I did want to give you updates on 5 additional cases. Let's start.
These are less intense.
Yeah, they are. Hopefully. 322 East Kirkwood Avenue. The Parlor Donuts business had placed a very large sign. We sent an NOV and the planning sent an NOV. They removed the large sign. This was last year.
Why are you picking up Parlor Donuts?
They never applied for a certificate of appropriateness for the current sign on the wall either.
How many donuts can we find them per day?
I would be cautious. We want those donuts to be good.
They provide a public service, Gloria. Can work something out.
Well,
We need a taster.
well, they, as of last week, the 30-day ticker started. It's not up yet, so we're not, so we'll get in touch with them afterwards with the next step, saying hey, you don't respond to us, it's now daily fine. So that's where we're at with that one. And after that, we have 1302 East 2nd Street, roofing material. So this one is, we actually found out about this one during an HPC meeting where it was used as an example, as a precedent for creative slate alternative roofing material.
Remember the plastic
Elm
shingles
Heights?
that I hated so much?
Yes. The not slate material. Even the neighborhood, so specifically the Elm Heights Neighborhood Subcommittee used this other house as an example of how it could work. This other house is in Elm Heights Historic District, and we had processed a few of their COAs during my time here, so I remembered them. I did notify them. The owner got in contact with me immediately. He was very remorseful. He submitted all the paperwork. We will be evaluating that one on September 28th. So at least the owner has retroactively done the due diligence, but at least fill out the paperwork, and then the HPCU will all get a stab at deciding what the next step will be with that one. After that, we have 1312 1320, and I'm a little dyslexic, so 1302 East 2nd Street and 1320 East 1st Street just fry my brain. So 1320 East 1st Street is actually the Alfred Kinsey house. The new owner, it's a relatively new owner, had installed a fence, and a neighbor complained about it. So we had to look into it. They had not applied for a COA. When I sent the notice of violation, the owner contacted me immediately and was very remorseful as well, submitted all the paperwork. After talk with legal, we determined that they had not applied for a certificate of appropriateness, but the work was done perfectly and in compliance with the guidelines. So they were given a staff level certificate of appropriateness, and you saw that earlier here. That being said, it came with a stern reminder of you have to apply for a certificate of appropriateness for every single thing. This could have gone south very quickly. But the person was very remorseful and said that they had not been, and this is part of the continuing conversation we need to have with realtors. They were not made aware that they had to apply paperwork.
It just seems like there's something missing in the process, right? This is all about process.
Yeah, I saw something, there's a course that you can sort of train up real estate agents, like starting from the beginning, that thing you sent.
Yes, so I did
Segue.
send you all an invitation for a continuing education course, and we can talk about that more in a second, but yeah, put a pin on it. I really want to continue developing and fostering that relationship. Bloomington has, and we have a few realtors here, has a very fast-moving market and an active market, and a lot of historic buildings involved in one way or another, whether they are simply surveyed buildings or whether they're in historic
I
districts.
suspect if you go to the Bloomington Board or the National Association and filter it down, if you try to do it from the ground up, it's too broad a base. So
Okay.
if you try from the Bloomington Board and they filter it to all their members, you probably get better results.
Okay, no, that's really good to know, and we can definitely talk more later about it.
You know, the other case we had was that in M College too,
The windows.
the Windows case.
Yeah,
The
and
excuse was that she didn't know.
and this case could have gone that direction had different decisions been made. So Then after that, we're almost done. We have two more. 621 West 4th Street in the Greater Prospect Hill Historic District. I received complaints that porch columns had been, like the original porch columns, which were wood and round, were replaced by turned, but a different design of porch column. And they never applied for a certificate of appropriateness, didn't talk to anybody, just went ahead and did it. We sent them a letter, we haven't received a response. And finally, because, always adding a bonus, I went to document buildings, and while I was drove through Restaurant Row. 401 East 4th Street is a non-contributing structure. It's a newer structure, but Granite put a sign on it with.
They put their banana on it?
They put bananas in Restaurant Row and did not apply for a certificate of
I don't know
appropriateness.
how the banana fits in.
And, this is-
Don't ask.
No, they've done that before, so
Yeah, I tell you.
and we nailed them on it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I like
that's
bananas.
bad.
Jesus.
Yeah, so even a non-contributing, so that the reason why we include contributing and non-contributing buildings in a cohesive historic district is because we're looking at the landscape. And that's why even a non-contributing building needs a certificate of appropriateness for conspicuous changes that are going to affect everything. So it would have been nice to at least have been consulted. So anyways, that's it for now. That's where we're at. Yeah.
I have a question. Have you had a chance to investigate the example on the near west side about the retaining walls that Peter wrote you about?
Yes. So he hasn't talked to you? I emailed him back.
Well, no.
Okay,
haven't.
so.
He's been out of town.
Okay,
he
so
didn't forward it.
I did receive a complaint from Peter Dorfman about 600 West Kirkwood, Avenue, which is the new two-story building by Spring Point Architects that fills up the lot. We've reviewed it on more than one occasion. They did put a concrete retaining wall around it. And in fact, you could actually see it because, let me see if I can share. I'm so tired. Did I stop sharing? Okay, hold on. Okay, so give me 1 second. So, I know Ernesto, soon.
No, that's fine, because Google Street has since August 23rd.
Yes, so Google Street will actually show you exactly what's going on there. I went ahead, West Kirkwood. So I went ahead and called Spring Point.
Good.
And I asked, because I noticed, just looking at this picture, I noticed there's space, there's grout. That's not the finish. That's
Good.
not the
Just the
final
base.
finish. That's
Good.
just the structural component.
Okay.
Remember, retaining walls. Retaining walls are some of the most suffering structural pieces. They have the most intense force, the most unforgiving force, and most retaining walls at some point are gonna like crack. They're just the
Hydrostatic pressure
force
is
of
awful.
land is so much that even these tiny retaining forces just won't be able to hold. So, putting a reinforced concrete retaining wall underneath is the way to go. So it is going to be covered with the
Good.
brick. However, they may come back to us, and this was the addition. They may or may not come back to us with an application for limestone instead. So that
Wouldn't
could be
complain
nice.
about that.
Oh,
So we might be seeing that in the future.
oh, good, okay.
So just like assuage your concerns, the complaint was made, it was addressed, and it was
Good.
closed out.
Thank
Do
you.
we know what the building is gonna be used for?
It's a house. It's a single-family house.
Okay.
And the COA had specified landscaping block,
Yes.
retaining walls, so that
The big front.
he was alarmed when he saw that.
Yeah, but this is like I literally looked at it
Right
from
now
this
or new construction?
this angle
So new.
and noticed that there was a good amount of space
Yeah,
there.
you're right. I wondered that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, so that
I
is
didn't know what it was for.
customary.
Good.
Yeah, so I hope that assuages your concerns.
Oh, yeah.
And so let me see what the last thing. So continuing education, planning retreats. There's been a lot of stuff happening. Elizabeth Mitchell and I were both present at the camp conference, online conference yesterday. They're going to be doing them online every other year. That's the one-day retreat for or the one-day conference for commissioners and for commissions in general specifically. Renard, I think did you go to that one last year in person? And then the bigger conference is happening. The PHP conference is happening this week. I think in Muncie.
That's
Let me
next week, yeah.
or
I'm
next
go-
week,
I'm
next
going to
week.
that. You're going too, right?
Yeah.
So that one's
Yeah,
next week.
I'm going. We gotta plan to, meet and move it up in Muncie.
Yeah.
It's Elizabeth's hometown.
Well, 12
Practically.
states, I can go back.
Yeah, so
Old stomping grounds, that's what.
so that's happening. There's a lot of videos and opportunities to do continuing education. The one with the incorporating the realtors as stakeholders and as active, communication is a really good one as well. I also sent out a survey about doing our internal retreat. It's gonna be so far the day with most people responded, maybe 4 people can make it, and not everybody has responded. So if you have responded, great. If you haven't responded, please do so as soon as possible. These retreats are very important. It's the one really big finding I had from the state is hey, and they were very chill about it. They were like, although the retreats aren't the most mandatory thing, we really want to encourage you to bring them back. And I would really love to do that. I know there's no perfect date. If I need to add days in early November to the survey and have you take a second look at the survey, I will do it. I just want to make sure that I can get more than just 3 people in the room at one time so that we can have useful workshops and conversations on some. It may just end up becoming a workshop of ideas that you might want rather than and brainstorming and just contemplating on what the future is for events and activities rather than being able to, I don't know if at this time I might be able to bring someone in to talk and give a talk. I don't know if I have that time and flexibility, but we can definitely use it for some productive conversations. We just don't have time for it. Our HPC is very busy, and I've done analysis of this. The casework has incremented by 400% in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you are doing an incredible amount of labor, but that also means that you don't have time to like just soak in and think about the beautiful and fun things that all of you could be doing with the community to foster goodwill, to get the word about historic preservation out there, and things that, you know, you could find delightful. It's not all just the policing power of like this door here or not here, or, you know, the chimney here or not here. It's like sprucing up, starting to think about the next large resurvey in 2028, you know, things like that. Start thinking about how are we going to deal with infill as it continues happening, about the maybe 2 additional historic districts that where people are kind of moving a little bit more and talking about things, and other topics that you might want to bring up. So
Big picture stuff. I would love to talk some big picture stuff.
I find those so useful.
yeah, and more like the incorporation of above ground, below water, and all of these other conversations we could be having, because at cultural sites, we don't talk enough about things that we could be incorporating a little bit more. But anyways, with that said, I'm going to leave it all up to you for now. I'll keep in contact with you in the next week or so, and see if we can find a day where at least 5 of you could make it.
Get a quorum.
Yeah, get a
Push it into November. There were some, I filled it out just a few days ago, and a lot, just bad luck landed on when I was planning on a fall vacation.
It's understandable.
And so, yeah, but generally Fridays and Saturdays are days I can do. Sundays are a little tricky for me. I keep getting scheduled on Sunday. I gotta talk to my boss. So,
Sounds good. No, that
Go on
sounds
strike.
oh, okay. First of the world unite.
Yeah, give the priests and preachers a day off. Anyways, I just don't want to delay it too close to the holidays, because then things change and everybody needs a break as well. So anyways, thank you so much. I'll leave it to the chair again.
All right. Do we have any comments from the public? They'll laugh. That's good to know. Any commissioner comments?
Oh, Richard Lewis is still
Oh,
here.
oh,
He
Richard,
raised it. I'm
Richard?
sorry, Richard. I had not noticed your hand raised all this time.
No, I just put it up, and thank you, I'll try to be brief. Going back to the small picture items about violations, I know those are probably the least fun parts of what Gloria and the commission do, but I do appreciate it because that particular violation at 619 West 4th is one of the 4 historic duplex houses that were built in roughly 1905, 1910, apparently on spec by Permelia Dillon Steele and her husband Henry Steele, who were living in the Paris Dunning house. Permelia's family had been there since the 1870s, and she and her husband held that home until they passed in the 1930s, so quite a long occupancy by that family. All of those houses, according to the walking brochures, are built in the new classic style, and they all feature those round Tuscan columns, except now for one of the porches at 619 West 4th. And because these are historic duplexes, each home has 2 porches, so you have 8 porches that fill 1 block. 7 of those porches have Tuscan columns, and 1 now does not. And again, I know this is a very small picture thing, but it is part of what we value in Greater Prospect Hill is preserving that streetscape, because that stretch of 4th Street is, to the casual observer, almost untouched at the street level. So I appreciate Gloria's efforts in following up with that property owner to see if they can return those columns to their original style. So again, I know it's a small picture thing, it's not the most fun thing, but it is appreciated at this level. So thank you.
Thank you. We will keep our eyes on it. All right, commissioner comments? Any new business?
Oh, I think I brought up the new business already.
All right.
No, I just want to thank all of you who came out to see the documentary. I really appreciate
That
your
was
support.
awesome.
Yes,
It was amazing. It was like PBS.
It was
I'm on the
incredibly,
road with it.
it was incredibly well done. It was, I mean, for those of you who didn't get to go see it, when's your next screening?
The Unitarian Church asked, for it, so we'll do it there.
Cool.
And, other than that, I'm going to Lafayette, Indianapolis, can't remember the other, my team has the list for me. So I am gonna take it on the road. We were sad that it did not get accepted into the Heartland Film Festival. The documentary I did about, Mr. Chandlerville, that made it into the Heartland Film Festival. But since then, the festival's just bloomed up in Indianapolis. So this year they had over 3,000 entries.
Wow.
So we did have one about beat baseball, and if we did a trailer, that made it into, so we're still happy. That made it.
Excellent.
I think
On to the next two
you could try
documentaries.
Higher Ground. Do you know Higher Ground? I don't know if it's a foundation or what some organization that the Obamas started. I like to think big, because I know of someone who they find films about that they think need greater exposure, exactly, and they promote them. They help them, like they helped somebody I knew in graduate school with a film he subsequently made, connected to Netflix. So
I'll
it's
talk
called
to my
Higher
team about
Ground.
that.
I mean,
Okay.
what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Send, have your team send it in, and maybe
Because
you'll
we're
pick it
working
up
on other stuff too, so,
and promote it. Yeah,
all right, thank
other
you.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the name of it. If I'm wrong, I'll
Okay,
I'll get
thank
back
you.
to you.
Thank you for that information.
All right. Well, I think that's what we got. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, all of you, for coming and participating.